The release of Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is on the horizon. This updated version of Phantasy Star Online 2 can be classified as two things, a new expansion of sorts and a major graphical overhaul to the original game. So, after playing the recent beta, I feel it's worth sharing 5 new features introduced by Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Number 1. Stunning and beautiful graphics. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis graphical overhaul looks absolutely stunning. It's somewhat hard to believe that this was a game that was initially released in 2012. The animations are smooth and expressive even for those who don't have a powerful gaming PC. Yes, less powerful rigs can still enjoy the graphical enhancements introduced in this version, but I recommend limiting your FPS to maybe 30 or 60 because the game demands a lot of processing power. Regardless of how you play, you see significant graphical details while in battle, exploring and creating your character. Number 2. Open World Exploration. In Phantasy Star Online 2, quests and even story scenes were confined to fixed areas that you explore numerous times if you were locked in that area. In New Genesis, however, that closeness is thrown out the window. A vast open world you can explore freely at your own leisure is introduced. You will find teleporting devices across the land during gameplay that allow you to go from place to place quickly. There are also quicker ways to get around the world and a sense of scale as you traverse the landscapes. Tied into the graphical updates, these environments appear to have more to do than the quest dungeons we were using to playing through. Number 3. Purely Cosmetic Gotcha. Whenever the word gotcha is heard, players might be immediately inclined to not have any sort of interest in the game. Having progress tied to how lucky you are can make the experience somewhat frustrating, especially if the game becomes impossible to progress unless you have a specific character. But the gotcha in Phantasy Star Online New Genesis is purely cosmetic. In this system, one can only obtain poses, avatar pieces, and the like. There are no OP swords or OP guns that promise to nuke everything on the planet. It's a highly optional feature that might not affect your experience, unless of course you do care about cosmetics. Number 4. Simplify menus. In Phantasy Star Online 2, menus were quite cumbersome to navigate and figure out. However, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis has completely reworked the UI. Not only is it easier to navigate, but they're also friendly to newcomers. The shortcuts haven't really changed too much from the original, but they're definitely reworked much of the way so you get around these menu screens. Number 5. Inventory management that doesn't suck. The inventory's limited capacity of 50 slots in Phantasy Star Online 2 was a common complaint among veterans and new players, but in New Genesis, items in the inventory are now easier to manage, recovery items no longer occupy slots, and the inventory capacity has been increased to 100, double that from Phantasy Star Online 2. Furthermore, items and money that are dropped from enemies are automatically gathered, so you won't have to tap the collect button over and over and over again. Interacting with the teleportation area also allows you to store leftover items in your storage easily, so you won't have to look for that specific NPC who manages your storage. What is better is that you can sell items directly from the menu without going back to Central City to sell them. Talk about handy! Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis will launch on Xbox One and PC via Steam, Epic Games Store, and Microsoft Store in June 2021. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to noisypixel.net for more information on reviews, previews, and more.
Noisy Pixel.